Good afternoon. You're watching Business World Live. I'm Jess De Los Santos. Let's take a look at how the local bourse closed today, Tuesday. All right, the PSEI ends the day in the green for a second day. Gains while muted at 0.6%. That still bucks a regional sell-off here. First off, as you can see in the chart right here, you have the PSEI ending the day at 7,241. This as shares across Asia fluctuated Tuesday. That's over worries of an economic fallout due to the Omicron variant. Sentiments in China are low over government crackdown on the indebted property sector. Other major indices in Japan, Korea, and Australia also in the negative zone. That's ahead of the Fed decision on Wednesday, with expectations high that they will taper stimulus faster than expected and signal an interest rate lift up by next year. Now, over here, again, shares edged higher as the Asian Development Bank hikes growth outlook for the Philippines to 5.1%. That's from 4.3% previously. We'll give you more details on that later. But zeroing in on the main index here, you have this COL Financial seeing the main gauge ending the year at 7,400 or higher. That's after Omicron fears triggered a sell-off a few weeks back. But this, they say, is a good setup for the perfect winter storm for a Santa Claus rally. Strategist Adrian Alexander Yu favors stocks that got sold off during that correction. You have the likes of Ayala Land, Alliance Global, Aboitiz Power, BDO, and GT Capital, as well as Robinson's Retail. But looking at our leaders and laggards for today, a number of those stocks ended the day lower here. You have the likes of GT Capital down by close to 1.75%. RRHI, Robinson's Retail, likewise also in the negative territory, while Aboitiz Power and BDO managed to end the day with gains here. BDO is up more than 2%. Aboitiz is also edge higher here, close to 1.2%. Speaking of BDO, let's take a look at the financial sector here following that hacking reports of BDO accounts with an authorized transfer of funds to Union Bank accounts. The sector still managed to end the day in the positive territory here, with only two stocks capping the session with losses here. Muted gains for Union Bank up 1/10%, but BDO, as you can see again, surging more than 2% right here. Lastly, let's do a quick check at our local currency, with the peso wavering following BSP Governor Ben Jokno signaling that the central bank will be taking a patient approach in hiking interest rates. He maintains that the Philippines has the necessary tools to address inflation should Fed continue with expectations that they are going to lift rates. He says the Philippines has hefty foreign reserves. Looking at the peso right here again, still weaker here at 50 spot 360 to the greenback. Now, the Customs Bureau held its first ever auction of hot cars this week, but guess what? No bidders showed up. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez has the rest of the story.
From the usual season destroy, the government is veering away from its SOP when it comes to smuggled luxury vehicles. Instead of getting crushed, these cars were supposed to raise money through a public auction instead. The auction took place on Monday, led by teams from the Bureau of Customs, Treasury, and Land Bank of the Philippines. Up for grabs were 3 units of Mercedes-Benz, a Porsche, and a Ferrari that were seized earlier this year. Unfortunately, not many were interested. In fact, no one showed up, so it was declared as a failed bidding.
A failed bidding may be declared: 1. When there is no bid. 2. When the highest bidder fails to comply with any of the payments required.
It could have been the price tags. The 2008 Ferrari, for example, had a floor price of 23 million pesos, while a Mercedes from 2001 had a floor price of 1.3 million pesos. So today is the last day of the 2-day inspection here at the Bureau of Customs for interested bidders. So apparently the government will be selling this on an as-is where-is basis. So meaning what you see is what you get. So let's try to check the condition of the cars like this Ferrari, which is the most expensive. It has a floor price of 23.2 million pesos. The emblem on the steering wheel, on the car hood, and on one side of its fenders have been removed. The car's interior also has missing parts. Guess this is not going to be the Ferrari 430 Scuderia of your dreams. Same goes for others, like this Porsche Boxster 2001 with a floor price of 1.8 million pesos. Aside from minor dents, the car has no rear view mirror and its windscreen is also broken. So what's Customs going to do now that their plan to raise money has failed?
We must now proceed to the second reading. So, the regulation states that when a failed bidding is declared, the item or sale lot shall be reoffered.
The Bureau of Customs hasn't announced a date for the second auction, but we'll see if more bidders will come forward by then. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
Here are other headlines we're keeping our eyes on. The government has rejected all bids for 7-year Treasury bonds after turning down tenders for 10-year debt last week. National Treasurer Rosalia De Leon says this is because the November inflation exceeded market expectations. Average rate would have been 4.395% had the Treasury awarded all 20 billion pesos of the 7-year debt it offered. That's lower than the 4.468% average yield in the October 26 auction. The Treasury says there's more room for rates to decline and slowing inflation and central bank's assurance to hold rates steady. Meanwhile, the government is now seeking bidders for design and build contracts for the 74 billion peso bus system project in Davao City. The project intends to introduce a modern bus system in Davao City to replace the current public utility jeepneys. The Transportation Department is seeking bidders for 3 contract packages, including one that covers the construction of Buhangin Depot, Kalinan Depot, and Kalinan Driving School. The second contract is for the Toril Depot and Terminal, Bunawan Terminal, and Abdalinan Terminal, while the third contract covers the civil works along bus routes, including bus stops, bus lanes, and other pedestrian improvement works. The Transportation Department also revealed in its invitation for bids that it has applied for financing from the Asian Development Bank for the project. Now, still on the ADB, the Manila based lender hiked its growth forecast for the Philippines, citing what it describes as the domestic economy's impressive resilience during the height of the Delta variant. ADB is now expecting the country's economy to grow 5.1% this year, better than its previous projection of 4.5%. In the entire Southeast Asian region, only the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand were given better growth outlooks by the ADB. However, the Philippines is expected to grow slower than the broader developing Asia region with 46 economies. The bank, meanwhile, sees the country's GDP expanding by 6% next year, also higher than their old forecast of 5.5%. And another one from the Asian Development Bank, the Philippines has secured a fresh $250 million loan from the lender. That's for the purchase of more COVID-19 vaccines next year. ADB said the loan would allow the government to buy some 40 million doses for children and booster shots for adults. The vaccine procurement project will be co financed by the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, or AIIB. The ADB and AIIB will directly pay vaccine manufacturers for doses that will be ordered by the Philippine government. So far, 97.2 million doses have been administered in the country. That's according to data from the DOH. Now, more than 41.5 million Filipinos are now fully vaccinated. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez says the Philippines has so far received 158 million COVID 19 doses, surpassing the government's delivery target. With this number, Galvez is confident that 54 million Filipinos will be fully vaccinated by year end. Just how effective are COVID 19 vaccines against the Omicron variant? An expert from Malaysia's Monash University has some good news. Let's find out with this quick take from Bloomberg.
We know that it's highly transmissible. We know that two doses of vaccines, Pfizer vaccine specifically, does neutralize the virus, but not as efficiently because various studies showing that reduction up to 40-fold, right? Meaning that a third dose is a must for it to successfully neutralize the variant. What we don't know is still that what are the effects of mix and matching between vaccines and what are the capabilities of antibodies produced from this mix and matching in neutralizing Omicron. Because as we know, many parts of the world use different types of vaccines. And that would be a great data to look at. It will be also great to look at, because majority of the studies done uses a small sample number. And most of the time, when you translate it to real world, the data changes. So it will be really good to look at large-scale data of the ability of antibodies from vaccines to neutralize this variant. Grateful here today that the virus, Omicron variant, still uses ACE2 receptor as its main entry. It means that all of the vaccines which are designed with spike in mind still works. Imagine if it uses a different receptor other than ACE2. None of the vaccines would work today. So I think that is the best news that we got from all these studies which came recently, the past couple of days.
The Bangko Sentral clarifies that the current 1,000 peso bill featuring Filipino heroes will remain in circulation. However, BSP Governor Ben Jokno says changing the design of coins and banknotes has been a common practice in the BSP, which in the case of the 1,000 peso note did not sit well with historians. Jokno says the newly designed bill will be added to the circulation by April or May 2022. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro has the rest of the story.
His body was never recovered, just like his fellow World War II heroes Josefa Lanes Escoda and General Vicente Lim. These days, the three are remembered mostly because of their images on the 1,000 peso bill issued in 1991. But even that is about to change.
Please don't remove our heroes. Yan na lang yung ating araw-araw na reminder sa katapangan ng Pilipino at pagmamahal sa bayan.
Over the weekend announced it was going to replace the three World War II martyrs with the Philippine Eagle, which the BSP says symbolize clear vision, freedom, and strength.
The money itself becomes like a historical document because because you are placing faces.
Historian Jose Victor Torres said such a move would further the fading of the martyrs' memories.
You lose the face, you will lose the story.
The wife of the great-nephew of Jose Abad Santos, Desiree Benepayo, said this would further undermine our already poorly taught history.
As a World War II history and as a Filipino, I guess it's not right to replace our heroes with, an animal.
Politicians like Senator Nancy Binay and presidential aspirant Isko Moreno have also started to push back. Benepayo said the eagle may look majestic and dignified, but is no way heroic.
I have nothing against the Philippine eagle. It's a very majestic creature. Pero it will not evoke the same sense of patriotism from the people when they look at it, diba?
Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro, we are One News.
And those are the biggest stories of this trading day, December 14, 2021. Catch Businessworld live again tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. for the market open and 3:15 p.m. for the market close. I'm Jess De Los Santos and we are One News. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines.